everyone, it's Ian, the singing budgeter, and I'm so glad we have this time together. So welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, I'm a singer-actor here in Orlando, Florida, and I'm on a journey to becoming debt-free. Alright, so in today's video, we are going to be doing a budget checkup of my very first paycheck in the month of October of 2023. And I hope everybody had a wonderful week. Mine was very busy, but definitely productive, except I spent a little bit more money than I probably should have, and you will see that reflected in the totals below. But let's get right into it. All right, so let's start with my income. And if you watched my last few videos, you know that this month is a little weird for my full-time streams of income. I'm only going to be getting money this month from my full-time job and then some rewards from my credit card. So we just budgeted for my 40-hour-a-week paycheck, which was going to be $922.31. But I was actually able to make a little bit more with some extra jobs here and there. So instead of $922.31, I made $961.20. Every little bit counts, right? All right, and then on top of it, I sold a printer. I know, random, right? So I sold a printer because I didn't need it anymore. And so I wasn't budgeting for that, but I was able to sell it for $50. So I was able to make just a little bit more money for the week. So instead of $922.31, I made $1,011.20. So I'm hoping that will shrink up my deficit at the end of the month until we get to my cash envelopes, but we'll get there in a second. All right, so let's head on down to my debts and expenses. And as from the last video, I didn't have any debt that was due this particular week, so I didn't budget for it. And then for my HOA and Paramount Plus and Wow Presents Plus and Apple Care Plus and my iCloud storage and internet, I was able to pay it all off. So let's check all those boxes off. It's good to check off boxes. And it's good to pay your bills. So win-win there. All right, and so let's head on down further to my cash envelopes. All right, so I budgeted less this week, but I spent more this week. That's okay. There were some things that came up that caused me to spend a little bit more money on my groceries and eating out. I hosted a dinner party, and I took on the bill of getting all the groceries to make the dinner. And then I had a friend in town, and so we went out for a night, and I spent a little bit more money there than I probably should have, and definitely more than I budgeted. So that is going to be reflected in my groceries and my eating out. So I had been budgeting $87.50 for the week for both of them, which is actually down from $100, but that's because of my student loans returning and needing to kind of readjust all of my amounts from my cash envelopes to my sinking funds. But instead of $87.50, I ended up spending $204.04. Yep, just a little bit more than $87.50, and that's okay. I don't throw a dinner party every month or even every week, so I'm not expecting to spend that kind of money again, at least not for a while. So I'll chalk that up to kind of a fluke, so I'm okay with it. And then for eating out, instead of $87.50, I spent $197.57. So again, not $87.50, much higher. Oy. So, yeah, I have to be better about it, and I'm going to hold myself accountable and make adjustments, and I will be doing better next week. But, you know, for my car, my fun money, and my miscellaneous categories, I actually ended up spending a lot less. So it kind of balanced itself out a little bit. Not totally, but a little bit. So for my car, I usually have been budgeting $50, and that's for tolls and for gas. And this week I spent $39.64. I don't know about in your area, but gas has definitely gone down about 60 cents a gallon. So that has definitely been helping me out in my car category. If it continues to stay at this amount, I'll adjust my cash envelope for my car. But until then, I'm just going to keep it at 50. But definitely happy that I only spent $39.64. And then for fun money and miscellaneous, I didn't spend anything. So we have 0 for fun money and 0 for miscellaneous. Now, I could have moved around some of my finances. I could have moved around some of the eating out to fun money, since it is kind of spending that money on whatever I want it to be, and miscellaneous could also be used in that category as well. But I wanted to stay a little bit more accountable for what I'm overspending, and that is definitely groceries and eating out. So I'm going to keep my fun money at 0 and miscellaneous at 0. So when you add all of that up, it comes to $441.25, which is about $140 more than I budgeted. So I'm kind of happy that I sold a printer and made a little bit extra money at work, so that balances that out even more. But slap on the wrist, gonna make it up next week, I promise. All right, now we go down to my sinking funds, and I didn't budget anything for the week for that. And then there were no extra expenses, as I predicted. And then for my online savings account, I paid the $10. So let's check that off. Great. All right, so let's move on to the totals. So instead of $922.31, I actually was able to make $1,011.20. No debt across the board this week. My controllable debt stayed the same at $96.97. My cash envelopes were a little higher at $441.25. Didn't budget anything for sinking funds, and there were no extra expenses, and my investing came right in at $10. So when you add all of that up, I have a total of $462.98, and that is going to be rolled over into next week's paycheck budget. So overall, I stayed more on track than I was expecting with those higher amounts for my cash envelopes, but it definitely helped that I sold my printer and made a little bit extra money at work. So, $50 difference isn't the end of the world, but I'm definitely learning, definitely going to keep trying my best to stick with my budget, because that's why you have a budget. All right, so that is going to be the end of this video. If you like what you saw, please subscribe to the channel, and until next time, have a musical day.